Are we live?
I think we are.
I think we are. It's not. Oh, here we go. Yep. All right. So, welcome to the stream. I have Dr. Heinz Ermitteln with me, and before we get started, I wanted I want to put to rest some stuff that's going around on Twitter, because there seems to be a perception out there that you're not a real doctor. And I've seen your doctorate from Evil University, and so I can vouch. So you people can stop going on Twitter and saying that you're not a real doctor.
Now, first and foremost, I am a real doctor. Listen, I attended Evil School, Evil Inc., Evil School at Druffelstein in Germany. Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
gained my doctorate. I didn't finish though. I mean, I will say that I didn't finish the school, but I ended up buying my doctorate online. So it kind of reconciled all I've been through at Evil School.
Yeah, is that like when you buy a square foot of land in Scotland and you're allowed to call yourself a lord?
I mean, I don't want it to be exposed like that, but it's similar. This one makes more sense because I actually went to do
Sure.
to Evil School, so it's not like those other people, they didn't go to Scotland, but I actually went. So that's different. I got my doctorate. I should be. The only difference was I just didn't finish. There's a
Right.
but I'm evil. I am a doctor. Like,
Right.
I just want to make that clear. I'm a doctor.
All right. So we're talking about Eliza Blue today, and this is I was a few weeks ago. I was not in a good place mentally and emotionally, and there was nothing I was really interested in.
Yeah.
Some stuff was happening, and then this Eliza Blue stuff started happening, and I got interested in this and all this, and now for a brief period I became obsessed with it, and then I kind of then it kind of devolved into just a lot of sniping between the Quartering and Tim Pool. And then I go away for a couple of days, and I come back, and suddenly Eliza's changed her story. Tim and the Quartering have made up, and now Tim's talking about retiring.
Wait. Tim Carson is talking about retiring from podcasting.
He's talking about it. I haven't read through the thread, but he's I guess
Why?
not. I don't know. He thinks there's a mismatch in values in the Spear, but I'm not sure what he means by that. I got to go through the thread and really break it down. I was listening to a Quartering video before I got online with you, and
that doesn't make sense. If there's a mission, but it's your channel. You have your own values to hold and uphold.
No, I think he's
What kind of?
It's the values between creators and I think the more powerful interests, the more moneyed interests versus the independent creators. And I think I would have to go through the thread again and really break that.
Yeah, because that's not making sense. If that's his position, that means he agrees with Brittany Venti and Quartering getting the platform as wrong. That would mean that's why. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I need to go through and read it again, but I think honestly, I think he's probably just frustrated and he probably won't do it. But you never know.
Nah, he's not going. I mean, what is he, like 1 million followers on Twitter?
Yeah.
And
he says he makes 10 million a year. Not him personally, but the business.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, he is. Is Joe Rogan right wing?
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan, yeah.
I wouldn't say so. I mean,
yeah,
I
because
think these people are a lot like me. You know, I have like fairly conservative views on government and things like that, but
yeah,
socially, you know, I mean, Joe Rogan is a big advocate of psychedelic drugs. I don't think you're going to find too many, you know,
conservatives, yeah.
American
I mean,
Republicans who agree with that.
I've always pictured Tim Carr as conservative, so that's why I said that. But I've never, like, from watching Joe Rogan's podcast, I've never pictured Joe Rogan as, a conservative. I've always pictured him as a new, if a leftist, if not a centrist, because his views on climate change is not aligning with the views from conservatives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I
So
mean,
I've
I think there are
always
a lot of
treated it
people
like
like
that.
that. You know, I can, you know, when I was in, you know, a kid in high school and college, I really considered myself to be quite left wing. And I don't
Oh,
think my
okay.
opinions have changed that much over the past 40, 45 years.
Yeah.
But now I find myself aligning more with conservatives than leftists, which I think is just the cultural shift. You know, the culture shifted, but particularly, I mean, I think Rogan is about my age, and you know, us sort of Gen X people who grew up in the 70s and 80s, and what are you looking up, Tim?
Oh, apparently there is an echo. Nate Laurie is actually in the stream, which is
Oh,
amazing. Yeah, it's on the stream.
echo.
But
Do I need to put on my headphones? Is that the problem?
yeah, but you fix that. But um, Nate says that Eliza stuff is insane. But I will have to say though, um, I understand your point in regards to us aligning, but aligning more with right-leaning views or something like that. I would understand that point for you, but I would have to ask the question of, would you vote conservative?
I usually vote libertarian if I
Okay,
can.
but so you wouldn't vote
Um,
conservatives, even though you agree. Like that's
I mean, it would
usually
depend on who the conservative was. You
no,
know,
but
I
like
vote for the person, not the party.
let's be honest. That the reason why I asked it like that is because okay, you think that, but it's time for you to walk the walk. Are you actually going to vote for these people that you align with? Yes, like that
I,
that's where I was coming from.
yeah, it kind of depends on who they are. And I mean, the thing is, in the state where I live, it doesn't matter who I vote for because the Democrat will always win.
Yeah.
You know, my state is like D plus 20 or something. Um, it's just kind of ridiculous. Um, so anyway, I mean, but I wasn't even really seeing this in terms of right and left. I mean, I know that like Steven Crowder's issue with the Daily Wire is that, you know, if you're going to play by YouTube's rules and you're going to dock your creators money for getting banned off YouTube, then you're essentially conceding the fight. You're saying you set whatever rules you want to set, and if I break them, I get punished.
Um, uh, isn't that a thing in every society though? You break the rules, you get punished. I mean,
It's
if they
true, but
do have
if the rules are slanted in a particular way. So, for example, they were talking about misgendering, and so I think it was when Tim Pool was talking to Vijaya Gotti from Twitter and said, you know, you don't see the bias in having misgendering be something you can get penalized for. And she said, well, you know, the rules apply to everyone. He said, yeah, but that's a slanted rule.
What do you mean by slanted rule? Help me understand that, because the
Meaning
reason
that
why
it's only conservatives who are going to break that rule.
no, but I mean, but let's be honest. It's kind of akin to let's say, for example, you come into your house and the rule is no one can eat pork. You can't order anything that's pork. The only people that gotta break that are the non-Muslims. Do you know what I'm
Right.
trying to say?
Right.
But the point I'm making is the point I'm making is the people that when you set a rule, it doesn't matter if it's slanted or not. It is still your platform, and you still need to have a bit of respect for the rules of the platform,
Well, that's
or you
that
get off.
to
You know,
to an
that's just my position. That's all right.
to an extent, yes, but as we've seen, if the government's getting involved with it, as they were and probably still are, then there's an issue. But we're digressing here.
Yeah, no. It's a massive dive. To be honest, it's a good conversation to have while we wait for viewers to come in because I'm not sure how many are actually in this, but we did just start, so it's not a bad conversation to have. If I'm being honest, I think it's a valid one because a lot of people are very murky, especially around the Twitter terms and conditions.
Yeah.
On what you can say and what you can't say, what you can tweet, what you can't tweet. So I think it's an interesting conversation to actually have because
Right.
because for someone like me who is on the idea of if I'm signing up to a platform, it's like me going to a country or me going to someone's house. If they have a rule of me, actually,
yes, but the difference is I'm not hanging a sign on my house saying this is a free space.
Yeah, but
the way Elon Musk is hanging this, Twitter is going to be free speech.
No, I completely understand that. But the point I'm trying to make it though is I actually had a friend that used to come to my house, and I have a no shoe policy at all. Like the only person that gets to wear shoes in my house would only be me. That's the only person because I made the rule. So I'm the only person that will get to wear the shoes. But everyone else, no. Like I'm not saying I do that, but I'm just saying I can excuse myself. That's what I'm trying to say. But the point, but to land the point, you can't come into my house without taking off your shoes. So that's where I'm coming from. My friend used to come to my house. First few times I allowed it, but I let her know the first time, no, you need to take your shoes off. And she actually battled me with this. In my own house, she battled me with this. Now, granted, I did not say everyone welcome. You don't need to wear shoes. I did not say that. Granted, that's a fair point. But even though I didn't say that, the rule does actually exist.
And all I'm saying is there's a difference between your house and Twitter.
The reason why I use the house analogy is because Twitter is still a private platform. It's not really a public platform. It's like me holding a house party. It's kind of like that. I invite people come in. I'm like, yeah, come in. You're on the guest list, or even without guest list, it's an open invite. Come in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And
then if I invite a bunch of businesses to come in and sell you stuff, you might actually have an opinion about what you can do there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is still the point.
The problem is
there's still ground rules.
Yeah, there are still ground rules, but it's a little different when you're sort of providing general rules for something and when you're holding yourself out as the public square, the exchange of ideas, and then you're going to sit on some ideas and you're going to let other ones go through. And there is an issue with US law in that I'm sure you're aware of the whole publisher versus platform thing.
Yeah.
Once you start making decisions about content, you're responsible for those decisions. But they get to have it both ways. They get to curate content, but they also get to be exempt from the consequences.
I think this is personally, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not mad at it. The reason why I'm not mad at it is because it's one of these gray areas that will piss everyone off. I'm not mad at it because
I'm just saying they should have to pick one or the other. They shouldn't have this intermediate status.
I'm not mad at it because it's one of those situations in which people recognize. Not people recognize. The law doesn't recognize that a private entity is not a public entity. So freedom of speech, because public is government. So in my opinion, the freedom of speech for government is pretty much commercial speech, not non-commercial speech, which is what, in my opinion, Twitter, Facebook falls under. They fall under non-commercial speech. They're not advertising commercially, for free speech and all that. Whereas other companies that are private that would sell something, they're not allowed to just tell you, oh, you can get this for free, and then they charge you $2. And then they hide behind the fence of, oh, the First Amendment allows us to say that no, there are rules for commercial speech. That's not what they're doing, in my opinion. From my understanding where the distinctions are, they're playing with that. Whereas these distinctions doesn't apply for publishers, as you put, because again, it's commercial speech because they are pretty much selling their content. Whereas these guys are not. Do you see do you see the confines in a way?
I do. And I'm going to chalk it up to sort of the differences in how freedom of speech is viewed in the US versus the UK.
No. I mean, that is going by the US freedom of speech. And I just want to caveat everything I say with, listen, it's just my opinion. I've read piece of law. Please don't take it as gospel. It's just my opinion. It's just what I've understood. It's just what I've understood, because I know that there is distinction between commercial and non-commercial speech. In the UK, there is no freedom of speech laws technically. Like, if the king now, if the king decided to control your speech, he actually could. In the US, that's impossible. He couldn't do that at all. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but my understanding comes from private, public, and voluntary sector. Like, as long as you're private and voluntary, your speech is not really constrained. But if you're public, in terms of the government, they are. That's just my understanding.
And what happens when you have the government sort of outsourcing their censorship to private companies?
That's a gray area. That's the exact.
I don't think that's a gray area at all. I think that's a.
But let's be honest. Let's say the government, let's say the Conservatives sent Candace Owens, right, to go and run Twitter. Candace Owens is her own individual, her own entity, free from the Conservative Party, free from the Congress, that whatever. I actually don't know don't know the structure of how you guys run the political systems. But let's say she's free of the Conservatives, the Conservative Party. She is still our own entity. So what she brings to Twitter will be unique. You can't penalize every single person for what they bring.
Yes, but did you not see the emails from the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI? And
that's my point. They can send those emails. That's my point.
But the point is, we all knew this was happening before any of it came out. And that's how we see the things as being slanted. But let's go back to our topic here. But here's how I think it ties in, though. The primary excuse that's been used to censor people over the past few years has been misinformation.
Yeah.
Right? We're protecting you from misinformation.
It started with COVID. It started with COVID, isn't it?
Well, it started in this country with the 2016 election, because they were trying to paint Trump as being a Russian dupe. So we got to protect you against all this Russian misinformation. And then there was the COVID business. And now it's turning out that a lot of what they were saying was misinformation was not misinformation at all. It was actually correct.
Yeah.
So misinformation as an excuse doesn't work anymore. Now I think the new thing they're trying to float is privacy.
Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Explain that to me. Well, you have this person. I think Eliza Blue may have been some kind of test where she goes around and she strikes a few videos and says, you have to take these down because it invades my privacy. And Twitter or YouTube, Twitter, just go ahead and do it. And by any stretch, none of this violates her privacy. This was all public stuff that was out there, had been out
Consent.
there for 6 years, had been produced consensually as far as we know. And all of a sudden she's going around making privacy claims about it. Then there was the thing where someone from Project Veritas got the new head of trust and safety at Twitter on the street and tried to do an ambush interview. And the guy didn't say anything, but they put it up of, the reporter asking him questions, but him not saying anything. They put that up on YouTube. That came down within 24 hours because of a privacy complaint. So my suspicion is that they're testing privacy as the new misinformation.
Okay.
Okay. And I could be completely wrong about that. It could be just a wild conspiracy theory. But when I start seeing the same thing happening in 2 or 3 different places at the same time, I don't usually think it's a coincidence.
No, I am with you. I'm with you. If there is one, I usually go by, okay, one person, if you are the party, or if you said you were there, for me, it takes one witness for me to say you're telling the truth. So if one witness who is not connected to you says this happened, that's fair. That's fair game. If 2 witnesses or 3 that is connected to you, but they say the same thing, that's also fair for me. But I would tend to your point, I agree. If there is 4 occasions which is happening, it cannot be a coincidence anymore. It just can't be. Some people, I've seen the chat just now. Some people are actually asking for a bit more background. I think you know a lot more to this than I do.
Yeah.
So I personally know about the I personally know about the child stuff. But I think you know a bit more about the background than I do. So
the 5-second version of the story here is that Eliza's someone who has an interesting past. She's, dated rock stars and done stuff like that. Now she's known as an anti-sex trafficking activist, which is an excellent cause. I'm down with that. But people started noticing, and the first one that I'm aware of was Brittany Venti, started to notice that some of the things that she had said about her past didn't really make sense. And in particular, there are places where it seems like she was claiming to have been underage when she wouldn't have been underage. But so basically, Brittany Venti took the screenshot from the video and put it up on Twitter and said, "Hey, Eliza, what's up with this?" And Brittany got struck down off of Twitter. No answer, no nothing, just out. And then a few other people did videos about it, and their videos got struck as well. And basically anything that had any pictures from that video were getting struck. And people are a little concerned about this because there doesn't seem to be any legal reason to do this. And Brittany Venti is still locked out of her account because she won't take the tweet down. She had been on Timcast a couple of times. And just around the same time that all of this happened, there was a reporter from Timcast who was actually staying with her for a few days and doing this long 80,000 word story on her, which turned out to be, at least I read the first part and then I read the second and third parts very quickly this morning. It seemed to be a puff piece.
Well, is that from the Daily Beast?
No. This is from the Timcast website.
Oh, you mean where he said about this being an elaborate plan to make Eliza famous or something like that.
Well,
Is that
that's what Tim said in response. He said that he thought there was a PR firm at work who was, you know, giving her bad press on one side and good press on another side to try to make her famous. I don't think that's true. What I think actually happened is she wanted people to forget about this video.
Yeah.
And when it started popping out, I do think there was a PR firm here. I think the PR firm's job was to memory hole this.
Yeah.
Just to completely wipe it offline. And I think
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do. So that's sort of the short version of what's going on. But now Tim came out and did another video and said, well, hey, basically you guys were right. I got suckered here. And Eliza's
Wait, what?
changed.
Wait. He did what?
Hang on,
I didn't know this one.
Let me show. Hang on, I'll show it to you. 1 second here. Boop.
Wait, so he did that interview where he said that it was false. Not false. It was PR backed, and everything happening to her was to cause bad press so that she can get more popular. And now he's coming out to say that it didn't happen or something like that.
Okay, I don't know why my screen was like this. This is not how I set it up, but
Hello, welcome to
this video here, Tim Pool addresses Eliza Blue controversy after Chrissy Mayer video, and he's basically just saying that he no longer thinks Eliza's in the right. And she's changing her story. You can see this this tweet of hers. Today I've decided to change my story as a survivor. I've been abused a third time on a massive digital scale. It's called image-based sexual abuse. Every individual who knowingly profited off this content without my consent has become my abuser in my story. Now, when I see stuff like in my story, I take that to mean in this fantasy that I've created for myself. But there's also one of these context things that Twitter puts on. Readers added context and thought people might want to know. The recent events surrounding Eliza Blue do not meet the definition of image-based sexual abuse. All of the content was consensually recorded, publicly produced, and initially consensually distributed. Consent cannot be withdrawn from this type of media after the fact.
I love that context as well, because it just tells you, okay, you said that, that's fair, but this is what the law is.
That's the first time that I've actually found one of those things useful.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, in regards to Amber Heard, because
whoops, what happened? What happened? Oh my goodness. Looks like Heinz dropped off the call.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
I think it's my internet. I have no idea what happened. I think it's my internet. I do apologize for that.
No worries.
What was I saying? Remind me.
So I was just saying that it's like Tim seems to have reversed himself. Eliza's changing her story, which I interpret her as basically waving the white flag.
Okay.
So and yeah, all of this stuff happened, of course, while I was away. So I'm playing catch up here. So my knowledge of the details is a little fuzzy. But then people were sort of starting to notice that this sort of the feuds between like the Daily Wire and Steven Crowder and the Quartering and Tim Pool and stuff like that all seem to be happening around the same time. And, drama within Project Veritas and stuff like that, which seems a little weird.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it would.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too conspiracy minded about that, but
I mean, but how do I put it? It's one of those ones where you got to, in terms of Eliza, in my opinion, I think it's one of those ones in which we got to look at her claims and look at forget what she said about advocating for 13-year-olds, etc. Because we know that she has those views of NCAP and etc. Taking those aside, it's more of, did they believe, in my opinion, did they believe this is YouTube and Twitter? Did they believe that she had probable cause to did they have probable cause to believe that she was trafficked, and these instances that they're giving these strikes to some content creators, that it would be viable? That's where
It's
I'm trying to be fair to them, if that makes sense.
yeah, and a week and a half ago I would have agreed with you, but they've had
Okay.
plenty of time to correct it since then.
When you say corrected, what do you mean?
Well, they could let Brittany Venti back into her account.
Oh yeah. They didn't actually. Yeah, that's true. To be honest, they let the quarrying back, but not her. I think
Well,
that's
they let the quartering
that's
back because he took the tweet down.
oh he deleted it.
Yeah, because in his opinion, having access to Twitter was more important than leaving the tweet up.
I'm not going to fault him for that. I mean, personally, I'll be honest, this is a bit conflicting for me, because I am definitely that person that believes if you say something, you stand by it, even if you're being hosed down. So I am of that opinion, but if they choose to take it down for whatever reason, I would also be understandable. But Brittany didn't do it.
No,
She's standing by it. So
yeah.
I can't have this position. I'm going to have to side with with Brittany, because personally, I wouldn't take the tweet down.
Yeah,
I don't see what because before I make a tweet as damaging as that, I would have done my due diligence.
Yeah,
So
I think Jeremy has more business stuff going on that he uses Twitter for.
No, I completely understand stakeholders.
I mean, I honestly, I think he's more interested in the DMs than in being able to tweet.
Oh, what you mean? What he can receive?
Yeah, like people people he's in touch with on Twitter. I know he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes for a lot of different channels and creators. So I know plus he's got his coffee company and his, you know, he has a lot of business stuff going on, and and if I'm not mistaken, he uses Twitter quite a bit. So
yeah,
in his view, it was important to him to get access back. I think
yeah.
Brittany has enough of a fan base who watch her every day
on YouTube on his own.
Yeah, and she's not trying to like keep contact as much as Jeremy is.
No, I completely get that. I completely get the nuances with both cases. Personally, though, whereas Brittany can survive without having Twitter, I do think principle is more important. And this is where I did not know about the fact that Jeremy deleted a tweet. I actually just thought they just brought him back.
Yeah.
Because he won the appeal. Because the reason why I say that is because I have been locked out from my old account, and it was for sharing a link. So it wasn't technically a tweet per se, but I appealed it, and I basically got my account back. And I'm like, okay, well, I got this new account that I made because you blocked me on this other account, and you didn't let me appeal. So I got this new account now. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like, but the point is, I appealed it and I got my account back. So I thought that situation was like what Jeremy went through. I did not know he had to delete a tweet. And now knowing that, I'm gonna take it back. Like, I'm gonna take it back. Brittany, it shouldn't be, if he's doing a tweet to, I don't agree with that. I think you should always stand by your position, and you shouldn't compromise just because you're losing money, just because you have people, you're making business deals, etc. I understand it,
Well,
but but we wouldn't have the rights that we have if the leaders that were campaigning for those rights just decided, okay, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take that. That's just where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. I think Jeremy's really concerned. I think one of his big concerns is that he's got employees, and he wants to make sure he can pay them and
That's okay.
and stuff
All
like
right.
that. I don't know.
That's
I
legit.
mean,
Yeah.
I tend to cut him a lot of slack because he seems like a decent
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and he's trying to build businesses, and I don't know. He just anyway. But I see where you're coming from, and I think in principle you're right, and I think
I'm
love,
always right.
love Brittany for you are a doctor after all.
I can't get my diagnosis wrong, can I?
But I mean I do admire Brittany for sticking by her guns there.
Yeah, I actually do. I think that's very respectable. I think more people should be like that. Apparently I have echo.
You're echoing again?
No, I mean, no, I'm reading back an old tweet. If I have an echo, let me know. Let me know so that I can maybe it's my anyway. I do, in all fairness, I do actually admire her stance. She may not have as much responsibilities that Jeremy has in regards to her, but I do think a lot more people should adopt that stance, because if we do, it will lead to a situation in which these companies will realize that they need us more than we need them. Yes, they do give us the ad revenue and all of those things, but let's be honest. If we literally drop dead tomorrow, that's it. Their revenue stream is cut.
True.
Let's be honest. No. So I actually do admire her stance just based on that alone, because technically speaking, I understand they gave us the platform, etc., but they need to accommodate us. It's not necessarily a place where we have to accommodate them. No, I just don't agree with that. That's just me though. But I find it extremely self-defeating when creators cave in, even though I understand why they might in certain situations. I find it extremely distressing and extremely self-defeating when creators decide to be like, okay, I'm gonna listen to YouTube just because I'm paying this person, I'm paying that person. No, I personally think it's on the creator's point, if you're going to hire staff, that you have extra money in reserves for those staff should something go wrong, so that you can still pay those staff, and you have the opportunity to go into layoffs and bankruptcy and all those things should things go wrong. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It shouldn't be beholden to the people, the hand that's feeding you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want my livelihood to be beholden to the whims of, what is her name? Ella Irwin.
But in regards to the Eliza Blue situation, her story is really messed up, because
now you know much more about the charity stuff than I do.
Yeah.
So get into that a little bit.
It's really messed up, because I mean, I can forgive her changing her names multiple times. I actually think victims, I think that one, if that was just the revelation, I think that is a nothing burger. Because
I don't care about the names.
Yeah, because a lot of trafficking victims would do that.
She's just, when she was a hairdresser, her name was Eliza Cuts.
Yeah,
she's branding nothing. Herself. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's absolutely nothing. In my opinion, that's nothing. The issue comes. The issue comes when you're saying things like, I didn't consent to this and this happened, and turns out you did. The issue comes when you say that you are, from what I found, when you say that you've started a charity for victims and there's no proof of this charity. I I I actually wanted it to be proof because I can forgive everything else you said. I can forgive the 13, 12, 14-year-old advocacy to have them have consent. I can forgive that because technically it was in a testing
Yeah,
environment.
I people say stuff like that, and when they're talking, completely hypothetically, and I don't think that she's someone who would, you know,
No, don't
in
get it
in
twisted. I will slow you there. Don't get it twisted. I actually think that she believes that because she said, I am MCAP.
yeah, no,
She
I
said,
mean,
she
yes,
actually, yeah. So
right, but
I
it's
do
easy to
think
talk
that's
about
her views,
even right, but even if
but it's
you're
just views.
even
But
if
to
you
me,
are ANCAP, you got to, if you're halfway intelligent, you know that the world is not suddenly going to turn NCAP
yeah,
overnight.
yeah. That's my point.
You know, so
That's
she knows
exactly
she's
my
not talking
views.
about a world that's ever going to exist, at least
Yeah,
not in her
yeah,
lifetime.
yeah. So I can forgive her for that. It is her views.
Yeah, I mean,
It is what
it's a
she
little
thinks.
disturbing, but
It is, yeah. It absolutely is. In my opinion, I think it is probably the most disturbing thing that's come out of this because I didn't think a trafficking victim would actually say things like that. I
right,
did not, in my wildest dreams, imagine that. But I can put it to the side, like considering everything, all in one. I can put it to the side and be like, you know what? She's talking about in an hypothetical sense. I get it. Fine. It's not gonna become a reality anytime soon. So if she's think, I get why people think like, okay, if this is what she's thinking, she might implement this on a way, you know what I mean, as she climbs up the ladder. So I can get the fear, but it's still not valid because there's so many things blocking her from actually doing this. Do you know what I'm trying to say? There's
right.
so many laws blocking her from actually, if she was to have full control right now, she wouldn't actually implement this. Like it's
Right.
really hard. It's really hard.
So,
so
but you did
so
find some charitable stuff that she's done, right? I mean,
yeah. So I was about to get to that. So putting all that aside, in terms of the charity work, she said that she created a foundation for trafficking victims. And this foundation was not registered. It wasn't a charity or anything like that, but people donated to it. The same way that she also raised she also had a GoFundMe in which she raised money to go to a conference, sorry, for travel expenses. And it raised over $2,220. And to me, this is a bit off. This is very off. The travel expenses, I can understand we need to get around. But for you to have a charity that doesn't exist, I think that is extremely alarming to me because this is your entire manifesto.
right.
You're saying that you're an advocate and you help the victims. If she said, I am just an advocate, that's fine. That's fine. Be
And
an advocate. You can ask for the GoFundMe, travel expenses, etc. But she is saying, I am running a charity. This is an issue.
I, yeah, yeah, it is. Um, I can trying to give her the benefit of the doubt here. This is funny because I got savaged on Twitter for this the other day. Just like trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and think of a way that all of this could be legitimate.
Yeah.
I can see maybe where she might have said, okay, I want to start this charity, but I don't want to go through all of the hassle of trying to set up a charitable organization and then having to get board members and do all that. I'm just going to do it on my own. I'm just going to, you know, I, but there you sort of run into the issue of, is the money people giving her, is that her money or is that the charity's money? Which is why you go through all the hassle of setting up all that legal stuff. I can see where she might have said to herself, I don't, it's a pain in the ass. I don't have enough money for a lawyer. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna help people myself out of my own pocket. I'm gonna raise money for myself. But then, you have the problem that she has now. Is it really a charity?
Yeah.
Is it a charity, or is it Eliza's vacation fund?
And I'll be honest with you. I actually, because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I really did, in my honest opinion. And this is coming from someone who has actually been assaulted when they were young. Like, this was when I was really young. So it wasn't trafficking in any context, but it was in something that happens when you're being trafficked. Do you know what I mean? You're being exploited. Like, it can expose you to that side. So in a way, I was giving her so much leeway. And to see the way she's acting on social media, the way she's doubling down, the way all of these things is happening, and we're like, we can see that you are not genuine.
She's doubling down, but crucially, she's not giving us any actual information.
Yes.
She's just saying this, more this.
Yeah.
Whereas if she had said, look, for example, if she had come out and said, look, when I did the World Star video, this guy was really pressuring me to do all of this stuff. And, and when I signed those papers, I was under duress. Like, just say it, but if she's not going to say that, and she's just going to say, oh, this is private. Well, no, it's not. It was up for 6 years, and you never said anything about it.
And you never, and
like, and World Star has your canceled check.
Yeah, that really makes, to be honest, like, this would be the most probable, truthful situation from that World Star video. She does the video. The most probable situation is, I had a quote-unquote manager that posed as my manager, went to World Star, had me say these things, had me do these things, and I agreed to it because I felt like I needed to survive. So therefore, I'm going to do it. I didn't want to do it, but as we know, I have to do it. But so I did it.
Yeah,
but
which would be great, except she's got videos of her bragging to her mother about doing it.
I understand. I'm just trying to give.
No, I know. I'm with you. I'm with you. And it's possible. Like I'm working through all of this, and I'm going down the same road you're going down here, and then I'm like, okay, but here's this tweet where she was bragging about.
I completely understand that. I completely understand that, and the retort to that would be, I honestly was coerced. I honestly felt this was opportunities that's going to lead to more opportunities, that's going to lead to more opportunities. And it just didn't work out like that, because it turns out that me doing that video and me doing all this was exposing me to the porn industry rather than the music industry, which is what I really want.
Sure.
In my honest opinion, I think if that was the outcome from all of this, I think that would have been really plausible.
Yeah, if she had come out and said that, I think a lot of people would have just gone, oh, okay, well, all right.
Yeah. Because, like, it happens.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, though. Like, I watched the video, and, she was showing off a lot, but it's not stuff you can't see in any other video. You posted a clip of a Nicki Minaj video the other day, and it wasn't any worse than that.
I mean, and to be quite fair, I will be fair to her on this one. What you do in the confines of the 6-minute video is only dramatization. Right. And this is where, and I will give the backing for my example for this, because the Marilyn Manson case. Are you aware of that in any way?
Right. I've been sort of half following it. I've watched a few of Colonel Kurtz's videos about it.
Okay, so there is this. You may know about this video where Marilyn Manson was punching Evan Rachel Wood
Yeah.
for it's intro video. My position is, for the punching and all of that, from her doing a tweet, not a tweet, from her doing an interview saying that she actually consented to the video, and also the extra evidence in which the video is not actually in discovery for the case to say, look, listen, this is abuse. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That tells me that she consented to that video, and everything that happened within the confines of that video is dramatization. So even if it is abuse, even if she's getting punched and all those things, it's not real.
Right.
So whatever Eliza, so to bring it back to this
where
example,
I was going with this is that okay, so she made this video.
Yeah.
So what? Like,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So she, on the one hand, she could have said, yeah, I was, being trafficked when I made this. On the other hand, she could have said, yeah, I had an opportunity to do a video. It was a good money, and I took the job.
Yeah. To be honest, I actually think she was given the easiest out, especially in the era of sex work, especially in the era of video vixens, like women being empowered to be more like this.
Right.
I think she had the best get out clause. She did not need to necessarily go the way she has to be embarrassed of her past. Yes, it is embarrassing. I completely understand. But it's one of those ones where you're like, if I breathe and you look at it, like, so you found a video of me when I wanted to be in a rapper's video. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to, all she had to say was, I had to survive.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in
it looked like a good opportunity at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to be in the music industry. However, all of this was happening because I had a manager that gave me promises that he didn't fill up to, and he was pushing me into a trajectory that I didn't want to go. I wish if she said something like that, I think that's a bit more believable, in my honest opinion. I'm trying to give her the benefit. She did not say any of this, which is what's pissing me off, because her doubling down should have addressed everything. If you're gonna double down, bring facts. Exactly. That's my position. Yeah. Bring facts. You don't double down on nothing. All she's done is, in my opinion, she's doubled down on Jesus. What's the other one? Love, Kanye West. I don't even know why she brought in Kanye West.
Yeah, that wasn't real smart.
Yeah, I'm like, and she changed this. The worst thing of it was, flipping heck.
You lose something? You froze. Okay. Looks like Heinz is frozen for the moment. We'll see if I can get him back in a second. If not, I don't know. Wasn't expecting this. But so I'm in a weird spot here. I've never been live streamed. Well, this is only the second time I've live streamed. And the first time I also had Heinz. So I think we've covered sort of most of what I was interested in covering, which is, hang on, see if he comes back. Her sort of questionable charity activities and her changing story, which I it just kind of astonished me to come back after being away for a couple of days and discover that she had done a sort of a complete 180 on this. Not a complete 180, but she's just coming out and saying she's changing her story, and because she knows she's not getting anywhere with the current one. Let me see if I can ping Heinz and find out what he's doing here. My internet is playing up, carry on, is what he says. I'm not sure if he means carry on with the stream or carry on without him or wait for him or what. But I'll give him a couple of more minutes, and if he doesn't come back in, I will I'll call it a show. Let me look at some of these comments here. There is some sort of dance in Twitter. Twitter need commercial accounts, but and you get government into yeah, Blake, totally agree with you on that. All right. I guess he is. I don't see him coming back on, so I'm going to make an executive decision to end the stream here. But it was fun, and I'm glad for those of you who tuned in. It was nice to see Nate pop in for a second, and hang on. All right, I guess that's it. All right, so hopefully I will see all of you again real soon. And until then, have a good one. Graham out. Bye.